Boys varsity scrimmage here, preseason action, West Rutland in the home greens. South Royalton making the trip down. They are wearing gold. You may notice Donnie Dunches Jr. as an official at this game. Changing of the guard at coach. Keith Schneider has come in to coach boys varsity. Jordan Toller has come in to coach JVs. And Brian Maxim gonna jump. And that ball won by South Royalton, and they set up the offense. West Rutland probably come out in man. Jake Bartlett guarding at the top of the key. That's Willie Grabowski now guarding at the top of the key, and Francis Grabowski, his brother, near side. That ball into the post, and Brian Maxim hands up, forces the kick out. That ball far side, that's Jake Dow playing defense over there, and Maxim up fake. Fancy kick out, spin, and great block there for West Rutland, but South Royalton maintains possession. Brian Maxim, great position in the post, and nice bounce pass for South Royalton to get it in down low, but they're unable to handle it. Willie Grabowski going to inbound to Jacob Dow, who's running the point again for West Rutland. He's a senior. He hands off to Jake Bartlett, who is a junior. Francis Grabowski, another senior. First shot up, off the back of the rim, no good, and Brian Maxim doing what he does. Great hustle. Contest that and make things difficult for the other team. South Royalton, floater through the lane, rolls around and drops through. It's 2-0 South Royalton. This is the third scrimmage of the day, girls varsity scrimmage. Middlebury boys JVs scrimmage this South Royalton JV squad, and now it's West Rutland varsity boys, South Royalton varsity. Great pass underneath Grabowski to Grabowski. Everything but the finish there. Beautiful cut by Willie, a nice recognition by Francis to see the cutter and hit him. Bullet pass. Willie couldn't quite lay it in. The first two scrimmages, they reset the score at the end of each quarter. Maxim, straight up, good defense, forces the kick out, drive into the lane. Jake Bartlett forces the jump ball, great anticipation. Francis Grabowski gonna have a seat. Jordan Johnson checking in, and West Rutland to inbound. It'll be Willie Grabowski to Jake Dow. Dow hands off to Bartlett. Bartlett weaves across the top. That ball tipped by South Royalton. And Jordan Johnson got the last finger on it. It'll be South Royalton ball at midcourt, just about a minute in. And the only score so far is a 2 for South Royalton. Jordan Johnson, quick hands. Got a little bit of an elbow after he poked that ball away with no call. Jordan Johnson is the kind of kid that's no fun to play against. He's in your shorts. He is aggressive, he's got incredibly quick hands, and he's tenacious on defense. And that's a nice putback. 4-0 South Royalton. Not a lot of intensity for the West Rutland squad on the defensive end. Dow carries up, hands off to Bartlett. Bartlett, top of the key, back to Dow. Dow, skip pass all the way across, wide open Willie Grabowski. That's a great look. And Willie knows what to do with that. Great skip pass across, Dow to Grabowski, and Grabowski buries the three. That makes it a 4-3 lead for Soro. Great hesitation, and Johnson gets called with the body there. South Royalton will inbound. Willie Grabowski. Great intensity on defense, forces the kick out. And now up high, Bartlett able to get under that screen. Sends up an air ball. Willie Grabowski skies, pulls it down. Dow, Bartlett floater off the rim, no good. South Royalton with a rebound. And Bartlett thinks about the pressure and then drops back. Jordan Johnson forces a pass to the wing. Willie Grabowski steps out on that floater. Skip pass, now into the post. That call against West Rutland. We've got a sub coming in for South Royalton. West Rutland going to stay in man on this inbounds. They were primarily a 2-3 zone defense under Donnie Dunches, and Schneider going back to man defense primarily. He's going to be a great addition to the coaching staff here in West Rutland. Played some AAU basketball with Greg Hughes on a very successful team, and then recruited Hughes over to Castleton, where they had some very successful seasons playing for Castleton. He has played at a high level, was Hughes' assistant and JV coach over at Otter Valley. And West Rutland very happy to have stolen him away from Greg Hughes over here in West Rutland. That's a wide open three from the top of the key. He knows what to do with that. That's nothing but the bottom of the net. And that ball gets away. Dow able to track it down and immediately finds Francis Grabowski for a long three. And Francis drains it, brings it back to a 1-point game. Dow pressures Maxim out, but that is an air ball. And South Royalton able to go ahead and get the rebound there. Subs coming. Drake Jankowski going to come in, get his first minutes. Willie Grabowski going to come have his first rest. Rue Forrest also checks in. He's in the middle of the floor. He replaced Jordan Johnson. So Forrest will be the biggest man on the West Rutland team. They haven't had an inside presence of his size since Nick and Agnes probably, or Pease. Been a couple of years. First shot up, no good. 3:38 left in the first quarter. South Royalton with a 1-point lead. That rolls off the front of the rim and drops in. Now it's a 2-point lead. They're up 8-6. Jankowski to Dow. Dow to midcourt. Bounce pass. That's a skip pass over to Maxim. Maxim finds Dow. Dow back to Grabowski. He likes it. He puts it up. It's no good. Forrest has a hand on the rebound, but it's controlled by South Royalton. They slow the pace down and walk it up past midcourt. Nice screen. Nice job of Maxim to get through that and stay on his man. Dribble drive. West Rutland called for a hold or a reach. Jake Dow checks out. Jake Bartlett checks in. Not a great pass, but South Royalton able to save it from going out of bounds. Dribble drive into the paint. Throws up a prayer of a shot. Gets fouled and will shoot two. And we have a timeout for South Royalton. We will step away and resume when we're back on the foul line. Teams coming out of that timeout. South Royalton back to the line for one more. Two more, excuse me. First one good. 9-6 South Royalton in the first period, 2:58 left. Rattles home. 4-point lead. Bartlett, fast past midcourt. Over to Jankowski. Jankowski back to Bartlett. Bartlett, pressure extended out beyond midcourt. And South Royalton showing some length, getting the hands on that ball. That's a mid-baseline jumper for Maxim. Skips off the rim and South Royalton pulls it down. Nice looking shot. A little bit of hang time there. South Royalton hits the floater and extends the lead. Willie Grabowski checking back in at the next opportunity, and Keaton Wright Chapman going to get some varsity minutes today as well. Maxim to Bartlett. Bartlett to Maxim. Maxim skip pass. Jankowski back to Bartlett. Dribble drive, and that ball intercepted by South Royalton. And Francis Grabowski with an emphatic foul. South Royalton to shoot 2. And South Royalton doing some damage from the line. That one good as well. It's 13-6. Maxim checks out. Francis Grabowski checks out. Willie Grabowski and Keaton Wright Chapman checking in. Off the front of the rim and good. Jake Bartlett, mid-court. Thought the bounce pass was going to Jankowski, but it doesn't. Keaton Wright Chapman looking for an option. And that pass picked off by South Royalton. Drake Jankowski able to get his hand on the ball there, but must have been called with the body. Back to the free throw line for South Royalton. And South Royalton has picked off the passes around the perimeter 2-3 times and continue to do the damage from the free throw line. 15-6 with 1:43 left. Maxim checking back in. And that shot good. Here comes Brian Maxim. And Rue Forrest checks out. And we have a timeout here. Minute 43 left, and South Royalton with a 10-point lead. We will check back after this timeout. West Rutland after the timeout inbounds. And Bartlett passed mid-court. Hands off, Keaton Wright Chapman. Back to Bartlett. Bartlett thinks about the drive. South Royalton able to cut off the angle, and he's back to the top of the key. South Royalton reaches, but doesn't get it. That's a pass from Maxim to Bartlett. Bartlett thinks about the three, and now it's Keaton Wright Chapman back to Bartlett. Bartlett top of the key to Jankowski. And that ball almost out of bounds, saved by Jankowski. But South Royalton tracks down his pass and walks to midcourt. Jake Dow going to check back in at the next opportunity. Jankowski on defense. That ball tipped. Willie Grabowski almost came down with it. And that is the deepest three of the day off the glass. Can't say that was a good shot. Maxim tracks it down. Finds Willie. Willie with a jumper that's no good, and Maxim tracks it down again. Bartlett thinks about the three, kicks over to Chapman, Wright Chapman. Back to Bartlett. Bartlett hands off to Willie Grabowski. Over to Keaton Wright Chapman. He kicks to Jankowski. Jankowski looking for a pass into the block. Willie Grabowski wide open, baseline jumper. Not going to get a shot with much more space than that. Rattles around but doesn't go. South Royalton looking to change the pace a little bit, get that pass up the floor quickly, and then immediate bounce pass into the paint. That ball tied up. It's a jump ball. Jankowski out, Dow in. We're at 9 seconds left. Maxim up to contest. No good. Grabowski comes down with it, and that's going to be the end of period number one. South Royalton comes out with a 16-10 lead after the end of one. I believe we'll be resetting the scores at the end of each period. So the first round goes to South Royalton. So out of the timeout, West Rutland inbounds. Willie Grabowski to Dow. Dow dribbles left, hands off to Johnson. Johnson to Bartlett. Bartlett to Grabowski to Jordan Johnson. Gets the ball down low but doesn't go up with it. Dow hesitates, drives, kicks out. Bartlett has his three skip off the front of the rim. That is great hustle, Jordan Johnson. You'll get that all day long. Absolutely fantastic. Everybody assumed that ball was out except Johnson. He tracks it, tips it, kept the play alive. Turn, Will. Bartlett finds Dow. Dow to Bartlett. Bartlett likes it, rattles around, no good. Willie Grabowski showing some athleticism, getting to that ball, kicking it back out. Jordan Johnson, mid-range jumper for 2. South Royalton patient, up to midcourt. Bounce pass. Jordan Johnson making an immediate impact, picks off that pass, but then throws it away. Bartlett reaches, gets ball, not hand. A little bit of a bobble for South Royalton, but West Rutland unable to collect. Push off there, no call for South Royalton. Now they look into the paint, and it's all West Rutland there. Brian Maxim going to slow it down and find a guard. He kicks over to Dow. Dow quickly finds Jordan Johnson. Johnson off the rim, no good. West Rutland crashing the boards. That's going to be a foul on Jake Bartlett. A little more intensity for West Rutland with this group on the floor. Jordan Johnson is contagious energy out there. South Royalton to midcourt. Screen. Dow gets picked off, needs help, and West Rutland defense collapses. Brian Maxim at full speed gets the ball poked from behind, and it's South Royalton ball. Dow got his teeth rattled on that last screen. That's a foul on West Rutland. Jake Bartlett checking out, Francis Grabowski checking in. South Royalton to inbound underneath. It's 2-0 with 6 minutes, 8 seconds left in this period. South Royalton drives into the lane and gets mugged. Coach Schneider asking Johnson not to reach on that. And it's a good thing we're not counting fouls here, because West Rutland would be racking them up. Instead of simply a South Royalton inbound under the hoop, since this is a preseason scrimmage. Bounce pass into traffic, and Dow comes away with it. He gets poked from behind. That's a foul on South Royalton. Willie Grabowski will inbound at midcourt to Dow. That pass, Francis Grabowski, skip pass, Jordan Johnson back to Dow, over to Grabowski. Thinks about the deep 3, but doesn't. South Royalton anticipates that pass and goes in for the breakaway layup. Dow to Willie, back to Dow. Dow over to Francis. Francis skip pass to Johnson. Johnson back to Dow. Thinks about Grabowski, gives it back to Johnson instead. Skip pass. Francis needs to sky to get that. And South Royalton anticipating passes, getting hands into passing lanes and disrupting the West Rutland offense. Unable to capitalize there, and Dow finds Grabowski, and he'll take this. Off the rim, no good, and Jordan Johnson continues to have an impact. Dow, bang! 3-point for Jake Dow. That's 5-2 West Rutland. Into the paint, South Royalton pivots, air ball. Willie Grabowski collects the rebound, pays the price. Gets a forearm to the face and is going to take a break. Johnson out, Grabowski out, Grabowski out. Maxim to inbound to Dow. We've got Jake Bartlett, Rue Forrest, and Drake Jankowski checking in, and we have a timeout. We will check back in after these instructions from the coaches. We're back after that timeout, 4:48 in this second period. West Rutland with a 5-2 lead, and Brian Maxim inbounds to Jake Dow. Dow jogs up to midcourt. Over to Jankowski. Jankowski entry pass to Forrest. Forrest, long pass, back out to Dow. Skip pass. Jankowski. Into Maxim. Maxim to Bartlett. Over to Dow. Dow takes the 3 off the back of the rim. Maxim rebound. Great work, Brian Maxim. Excellent work there. Gets the rebound, takes it strong to the hoop, off the glass for 2. Maxim working hard on defense. Jankowski gets his hands in. Maxim gets his hands in. And they force the turnover. They force the jump ball. Excuse me, not a turnover. It will remain South Royalton due to the possession arrow. But the intensity on the West Rutland team, quite a bit better this period than it was last, that's for sure. South Royalton swings to the top of the key. Screen, Maxim skips through that. Dow extends the defense out to the 3-point line. South Royalton puts it on the deck, kicks to the corner. That's a long 2 from the corner, and Dow's gonna push, a little bit of pace here. Now he pulls up, finds Jankowski. Jankowski bounce pass back to Dow, Dow to Bartlett. Bartlett gonna take 2 steps in, high arcing shot off the glass, no good, and there's Forrest. His first rebound, no good, gets his own rebound, another miss. Nice to see a big man under the hoop working hard like that. He can be a difference maker for West Rutland. Bounce pass into the post, Jankowski playing tough defense. And there's Forrest, another rebound, and Dow up to midcourt, and that ball behind Bartlett. 3:06 left, and West Rutland with a 7-4 lead in this quarter. Playing much better. South Royalton player tries to hook that pass around, goes off Bartlett's leg and out. They'll inbound from the baseline with 2:57 left here in this period. South Royalton in the gold, West Rutland in the home green practice jerseys. That ball off hands and comes down for Jankowski. Jankowski feeds back to Dow. Dow, top of the key, picks up his dribble, looking for options, and he likes his own number. How about that? Jake Dow drops another 3. Coach Schneider asking his players, keep the intensity and get us a stop. And that's going to be a foul on South Royalton. Results in a West Rutland inbound. South Royalton coach asking which of his players committed that foul. Dow bounce pass, Bartlett back to Dow. Immediate pressure, Dow puts it on the deck, and he has a step on his man who reaches from behind, commits the foul. West Rutland to inbound will have Jankowski to Dow. Dow walks it up past midcourt. Picks up his dribble, bounce pass, Bartlett. Bartlett skip pass for Dow. Dow, Jankowski. Jankowski looking to get that ball in. And nice anticipation, South Royalton, sensing that pass was coming, but a little over-aggressive, called for the foul there. And you can see Keith Schneider coaching every single second. If he's not talking to the players on the floor, he's talking to the players on the bench, talking about ball fakes, talking about intensity. It's nice to see. Jankowski, bounce pass into Forrest. Forrest is a lefty, and he drops his shoulder and backs his man down and puts it off the glass and in. 12-4 West Rutland with 1:50 left. If Rue Forrest could score 8 or 10 a night, that is going to be a huge difference for West Rutland. Jake Bartlett, great hesitation, gets hammered, goes down hard, and pops back up. Francis Grabowski checking in, Jake Bartlett checking out. Jake Bartlett checking in, Francis Grabowski checking out. Not sure. Oh, Jake Bartlett's got to shoot. A little confusion there, I apologize. Boy, that looked good off the back of the rim. Beautiful. Nice stroke. That drops right through. And that is a 13-4 West Rutland lead. Totally different quarter than the first. And South Royalton deliberate. Going to walk this one up to the line. Set a high screen that Dow fights through. Francis Grabowski out on defense. He's wearing a knee brace this year. He had a patella tendon issue last season that took a lot of his basketball season away. He elected not to play soccer to protect that knee, but he's back for basketball and appears to be 100%, which is fantastic to see. He worked hard on his rehab and continues to wear the brace. Dow picks up his dribble, bounce past Jankowski. Thinks about feeding it back into Forrest, but back out. Dow, ball fakes, over to Francis. Francis thought about it, but awful deep. Now he's in range. He'll take that shot. Over to Jankowski. Athletic to pull it down. Nice pass into Forrest. Forrest is going to see if he can back his man down again. Oh, baby. How do you like me? Backs his man down off the glass. That is fantastic work for Rue Forrest right there. And that has been a piece that's been missing from this West Rutland team. Brian Maxim has been doing his best to play as the big man, but if you look out there, he is just not the big man that Rue Forrest is able to back people down like that. There were rumors that Forrest was going to snowboard this year, and I'm so happy to see him playing basketball. Forces the bounce pass into the lane. Jankowski called for the reach. We're at 8.8 left, and it's 15-4 West Rutland. Will reset after the end of this period. It is a preseason scrimmage, and South Royalton going to inbound here. Nice screen to get 23 open at the three-point line. I'm surprised he didn't pop that. Clock winding. We're at 4-3. They better get it off in a hurry. Floater skips off the rim and no good. And that is a fantastic quarter of basketball for the West Side boys. Keith Schneider has to be pretty happy about that. So we'll see what the format is. Looks like teams are heading to the locker rooms. We will be back after this. Halftime is over. We're back, and it is Willie Grabowski inbounding to Dow. Dow near side. Bartlett back to Dow. Dow to Francis Grabowski. Fakes the bounce pass to the corner. Back to Dow. Now he makes that bounce pass to the corner. Willie Grabowski. Inside to Brian Maxim. Great movement on the ball, West Rutland. Got the wide open shot, which is what you're looking for. That ball into the lane, floater, no good. Maxim comes down with that rebound, finds Bartlett. Bartlett up past midcourt, kicks out to Dow. Dow sends that ball into the corner, back to Dow. Dow, Bartlett, Dow. Ball fake. Francis Grabowski, back to Dow. Jake Dow backs it out and they reset, run a different offense. Now it's Dow, Bartlett, Dow. Back to Dow, bounce pass into Maxim. Maxim finds Jake Bartlett. Bartlett sets for the three and sends it off the rim. Brian Maxim got a hand on that, but it carried off. And it is out of bounds, patient offense for West Rutland, getting good looks. South Royalton walks it up. They are at midcourt. West Rutland staying in man. Jake Dow gets a hand on that. His man all the way out at midcourt. Great cut. Yep, that's a travel. Nice cut into open space, but the pass a little bit off the mark, forced the travel. And here comes Jake Dow walking it up to midcourt. That ball to Bartlett, back to Dow. Dow steps in and finds... Sorry, I'm calling Francis Grabowski Bartlett. He's on the near side. And that is Francis Grabowski draining the three for the first points of this quarter. Sloppy camera work there. You did not see the shot, but it was a beauty. Nice kick out into the paint. Francis Grabowski there to make that shot difficult. Comes down with a rebound, finds Dow. Dow up to midcourt, crossover. Skips that pass over, and that looked good coming out of the hands. That was Willie Grabowski, but it falls wide, and South Royalton hauls it down. They're looking to push. Errant pass, tracked down by South Royalton. Now they're back to the top of the key. Dribble, drive, kick out. Bounce pass down to the block. Maxim working hard. Gets the body on him, but South Royalton player steps on the line out of bounds. Francis Grabowski coming to the bench. Drake Jankowski checking in. We got a Jankowski for a Grabowski. Willie Grabowski going to inbound to Dow. We've got Jake Bartlett, Brian Maxim, and Drake Jankowski up front for West Rutland. And Dow comes to Jankowski. Jankowski finds Willie Grabowski, finds Maxim. Maxim looking to drive the baseline, and that ball poked out by South Royalton. Willie Grabowski will inbound. Jake Bartlett will inbound. 5:07 left. It's a 3-0 West Rutland lead on a three-pointer by Francis Grabowski. Maxim takes the pass and finds Willie. Long pass to the top of the key for Jake Dow. Thought South Royalton might step into that lane, but they did not. Bounce pass to Jankowski. Jankowski over to Willie Grabowski. No look pass to Maxim. Maxim driving the baseline. How about that? Strong move, tough angle. Floats it over the front of the rim and it drops in for two. It's a 5-0 West Rutland lead. Great work, Brian Maxim. And that was too easy to get to the rim right there. South Royalton player cut through everybody. And West Rutland called for a foul. South Royalton going to shoot two. First one pure. They've shot very well from the free throw line today. Something to remember going forward when we see them in the regular season. They're dangerous from the line, certainly. Rue Forrest looking to check in. Jake Dow up to midcourt. Picks up his dribble. Finds Bartlett. Bartlett dribble drive, pulls it back out. Finds Dow. Dow back to Bartlett. Looping pass into Willie Grabowski. Tough left-handed spinning shot. Has no chance. South Royalton, great little hesitation move. How about that? That was nice. And that's a timeout for Keith Schneider. He wants to talk about that. That was a beautiful move by the South Royalton player, weaving through and laying it in off the glass. Nice 2 points. So it's 5-4, 4:09 left. This is the third of the periods in this preseason scrimmage. We're going to check back after this. So West Rutland will inbound here. Brian Maxim to Dow. And Rue Forrest has checked in. He'll be the big man in the post. Dow to Maxim. Maxim turnaround, no good. Into the paint, and Jankowski comes down with that. Kicks it out to Dow. Dow bounce pass to the corner. Maxim, nice looking jump shot off the rim, no good. And Brian called for the reach there. He brings intensity. South Royalton up to midcourt. And dribbles into the lane. West Rutland called for the foul. They will inbound. South Royalton will inbound. Jordan Johnson checking in at the next opportunity, which is now. And Drake Jankowski going to check out. He's gimping a little bit. He will have a talk with Cody Parker, who is the athletic trainer here for West Rutland. And if you've watched any of these games, you've heard me say how thankful we are to have Cody Parker here. Licensed athletic trainer, taking care of the kids from both sides. And Cody is immediately going to take a look at Drake and do an assessment. He's heading for the ice machine. South Royalton continues to rack them up from the free throw line, and that ties it up 5-5. And I don't know if they've missed from the foul stripe today or not, but that gives them a 1 point lead. Dow up to midcourt. Bartlett back to Dow. Dow, bounce pass to Jordan Johnson. Immediately back to Dow. Dow swings it over to Bartlett. Bartlett looks inside, kicks to Dow. Dow, back to Bartlett. Bartlett looking for an entry pass into Rue Forrest, but it's not there. Nice job not to force it. And Brian Maxim gets a pass in the paint and heads like a freight train for the hoop. Gets fouled on his way through, was not shooting. Nice job of Maxim to take that ball immediately towards the basket. And that is to Forrest, to Johnson, to Dow, and Bartlett. Right on line, but a little long. And who's there? Rue Forrest. And he continues to back players down and get good looks from in close. Hesitation, step back three, high off the rim, no good. South Royalton there, runs into a wall, goes down hard. That was Jordan Johnson. And Dow, able to find Bartlett all the way up the floor, left hand, a little strong off the glass, no good. And collision between Forrest and a South Royalton player. Not many kids on the floor going to win that collision. Forrest jogs back and the South Royalton player picks himself up off the floor. We got Brian Maxim coming to take a break. And Kyle Laughlin has checked in for his first varsity action. West Rutland able to get a hand on that pass and slow it down on its way through. Foul called on West Rutland. South Royalton to inbound. They are up by one, 6-5 with 2:29 remaining in this period. That's a three. And that is nothing but the bottom of the net. That will extend the lead. 9-5. Bartlett to Dow. Dow, mid-court. Johnson. Johnson back to Dow. Back to Johnson. Johnson finds Forrest. Forrest on the baseline. Skip pass for Bartlett. Bartlett looking to go up there. And South Royalton player called for the hold to his disbelief. Bartlett goes down hard and checks out. Willie Grabowski checking in. And Willie Grabowski will inbound this ball. Better be ready, Rue Forrest. It came in a hurry, but he was there. Willie Grabowski, great pass down low to Rue Forrest, who backs his man down in and gets fouled this time. He'll shoot two, and he has been an impact player for West Rutland. Off the back of the rim, no good. Forrest will have another. And West Rutland appears to be perhaps matching up to go pressure. And that second one's in, and here comes the pressure for West Rutland. Long pass up to mid-court, and they're off to the races. Dow hustling back, forces a tough shot, and great body control by the South Royalton player to finish that layup. Johnson, one-touch pass to Laughlin, and South Royalton player had established his position, and Kyle called for the offensive foul. West Rutland now backing out of the pressure. South Royalton player into the paint. Taken down hard, will shoot two. Drake Jankowski icing his knee, it looks like. First free throw good for South Royalton. And they continue to pour it in from the line. Laughlin inbounds for Dow. Dow is going to jog up to mid-court. Johnson back to Dow. Bounce pass back to Johnson. Johnson likes it. He'll take the three. That's off the rim. No good. Willie Grabowski tries for the rebound but cannot come down with it. Forrest had a nice game for South Royalton. He drives into the lane. Gets called for the offensive foul. Laughlin will find Dow with this inbound pass. West Rutland down 13-6 here. Minute 18 left. Bounce pass to Johnson. Johnson up fake, skip pass, comes near side to Willie Grabowski, who skies for it. Rutland not ready for that pass. South Royalton was, and they are off to the races. And number 4, again, gets a nice look from deep. And contact there meant the ball went off Jacob Dow as he was trying to shield the baseline, so it's South Royalton ball. Willie Grabowski showing a little bit of ups right there. Rejects that. South Royalton will inbound. Now they're at the top of the key. They play far wing, and that is a deep 3. Off the rim, no good, and South Royalton comes down with it. Almost a travel there. He's in heavy traffic. South Royalton thinks about that 3 and then pulls it out. 7-point lead with the clock waning. No reason to jack them up. And no way for West Rutland to foul and put them on the line. So it looks like South Royalton's just going to try and run this clock out. Patient possession. Down to 24 seconds. Dow finds Johnson. Nope, finds Willie Grabowski. And Willie Grabowski finds the bottom of the net. That's a 3. That tightens it up to a 4-point game, but time is going to slip away before West Rutland can catch back up in this period. And Rue Forrest with a foul down in the paint. 4.1 seconds left. Coach Snyder asking his player to just go straight up there. Keaton Wright Chapman in, Kyle Laughlin out. 4.1 seconds left, and it is 13-9 South Royalton. It's a preseason scrimmage, so they'll clear the score after this quarter. The two teams split the first 2 quarters, each winning theirs handily. South Royalton took the first. West Rutland had a great second and won. Now South Royalton appears to be about to win the third, and we'll see what happens in the fourth. And that may be the first miss from the free throw line for South Royalton. And they pull down an offensive rebound off that miss. And we'll have additional opportunities from the line. Jordan Johnson called with a foul. We're down to 2.1. Well, now they appear to have gone cold. They've missed 2 in a row. That shot was up and good, but the official calls a violation. And we'll see if West Rutland can roll it in. West Rutland needed to wait for the official to give him the ball on the baseline. That allowed South Royalton the opportunity to get up, prevent him from rolling it. Keaton Ray Chapman, short roll to Jake Dow, desperation. Full court shot, no good, so third round goes to South Royalton. Royalton to inbound and start us off for 8 more minutes of preseason hoops. Bartlett, high pressure. Forrest out on his man. Keaton Wright Chapman getting some minutes on varsity. This is Willie Grabowski on defense out here. He slips through the screen, and that is a great backdoor cut for an easy 2. Chapman finds Bartlett. Bartlett comes near side to Francis. Francis Grabowski up fake, dribbles pass, mid-range jumper off the front of the rim, no good, and South Royalton comes down with it. Wide open 3 for South Royalton. He's been a dangerous player, 23 for them. Willie Grabowski able to come down with that rebound, gets a hack for his hard work. Foul on South Royalton. West Rutland to inbound. Willie Grabowski into Jake Bartlett. Jake Bartlett to midcourt. Chapman to Grabowski. To Grabowski. Nice cut, Keaton Wright Chapman. Wasn't recognized. Now Francis Grabowski finds the cutter. Finds his brother Willie for a mid-range jumper, and that ties it at 2 here. Long pass. and into the lane, runs into the wall named Rue Forrest and goes down. Jake Bartlett on the sprint, tries the scoop, no good. Rue Forrest goes up strong. I'm not sure if he's going to shoot 2 on that, but it certainly appeared to be a foul to me. So here they come to the benches. We've got a timeout, and we will check back after these coaches' instructions. So the official called that a block, not a foul. West Rutland will inbound, and Rue Forrest looks eager for this ball. West Rutland swings at Chapman all the way around the horn. Willie Grabowski, that's off the front of the rim, no good. South Royalton, deliberate, walks it up to midcourt. Pivots, kicks it out. Drake Jankowski looking to check back in. We've got a call against South Royalton. I believe it is a 3-second violation. South Royalton player begs to differ, but nonetheless, that is the call. Francis Grabowski checks out. And Drake Jankowski comes in to replace him. And South Royalton takes the rebound and walks it up. Slow pace for South Royalton. They're going to call a foul on the floor. South Royalton will inbound from under the hoop. 5:40 left, and we're tied at 2. Nice job, West Rutland. Close to a 5-second call there. Brian Maxim moving to the scorer's table. Jake Bartlett, defensive intensity, goes down hard, and South Royalton back to the line for 2 more. Up and good. Maxim in, Willie Grabowski out. And there's another 1-pointer from the free throw line for South Royalton. Maxim to Bartlett. Bartlett up to midcourt, and Willie Grabowski having a little bit of trouble putting weight on appears to be either an ankle or a knee, and Cody Parker again will do an assessment and help Willie out. You'll be sick of hearing me say how much I appreciate having Cody on hand, but when there's a hurt player, having a licensed trainer here is a huge relief for parents, coaches, and players. And that pass, a little wide of Jake Bartlett, off his hand and out. South Royalton will inbound. Kyle Laughlin looking to check back in, get a couple more minutes as a varsity player. 4:41 left, and we're tied at 2. Physical, no call. Jumper from the elbow, drops for 2, and that extends South Royalton's lead. They're up 6-2, and it's 4 minutes, 19 seconds left. Keaton Wright Chapman, far side of Drake Jankowski, finds Brian Maxim. Maxim, top of the key, comes near side for Bartlett. Bartlett finds Jankowski. He thinks about the drive, but great job to cut off the angle for South Royalton. Bartlett goes behind the back, looks up fake, finds Keaton Wright Chapman. Wright and Chapman dribbles left, back to Bartlett, top of the key, and he resets the offense. Hands off to Jankowski. Jankowski to Chapman. Chapman to Maxim. Maxim looking for Bartlett. Skip pass. Keaton Wright Chapman begging for it, and Jankowski sees him. Bartlett to the foul line, kicks it back out. Jankowski's got a nice stroke, and that drops for 3. His first points of this very young season come at a great time, cuts the lead to 1 point. South Royalton up 6-5. There's 3:16 left. Brian Maxim, effort, makes it happen. Love the intensity Brian Maxim brings to everything he plays, every sport. He gets the strip and the layup and gives West Rutland a 1 point lead. There's 3:04 left. It is preseason, but that's great stuff to see. We're going to step away during this timeout, and we will be back. South Royalton will inbound this ball, and they're now down 1. Great job to collapse on that by West Rutland, but easy layup for South Royalton, and Bartlett's on the run. Pass midcourt, Coach Schneider calling out a play. Swings near side to Keaton Wright Chapman. Ball fake, skip pass, Jankowski. Jankowski puts it down on the floor, starts his drive and gets fouled on the way by. West Rutland will inbound from under the hoop. That's Maxim. Maxim to Bartlett. Bartlett back to Jankowski. Jankowski gets his pass tipped, but Bartlett able to track it down. And Bartlett comes near side to Keaton Wright Chapman. He swings to Laughlin, back to Keaton Wright Chapman, up fake Bartlett. Bartlett looking for Jankowski on the far side. That ball tipped away by South Royalton out of bounds. West Rutland will inbound from the far sideline. Jake Bartlett checking out, Jake Dow checking back in. Jankowski. How do you like me now? That's his second 3 in a row. That extends the lead for West Rutland. Athletic, acrobatic, but no result. Laughlin comes down with it. Jake Dow up past midcourt, hesitate, goes by his man. He finds Keaton Wright Chapman, who comes near side. Laughlin for a long 2, no good. South Royalton rebound. Keaton Wright Chapman sees an opportunity, steps up, finds Jankowski down on the block, throws up a tough shot over the shoulder that doesn't drop, but will head to the free throw line for 2. Great job, Keaton Wright Chapman, to anticipate that, secure the turnover, and then find Jankowski down on the block. Jankowski, bang. 11-8 West Rutland. 1:38 left. That ball high, arcing. Does not drop, but what do you get from Brian Maxim? You get effort. Great work, Brian Maxim. West Rutland comes off a missed free throw with possession and the lead, and 1:30 left. Jankowski in trouble. Finds Keaton Wright Chapman. That's a great shot. Brian Maxim going strong to the hoop. Secures the rebound, puts it up. They're not going to call it a shooting foul. Now they're going to discuss it and maybe call it a shooting foul. Certainly appeared to be. So, after some discussion, not a shooting foul. Apparently it was away from the ball, not a foul on Maxim in the lane. Jankowski takes the bounce pass from Keaton Wright Chapman. Jake Dow, 3 off the front of the rim. Kyle Laughlin secures that rebound, and West Rutland working it around. There's bodies flying everywhere. Dow goes strong to the hoop and gets hammered on his way, bouncing back, throws one up that skips off the front of the rim. If that would have gone through, that would have been a circus shot. He's going to shoot 2. And we're down to 1:12 with a 3-point lead. 4-point lead sure would be nice. 5-point lead would be even better. Ooh. Front of the rim rolls off. 1 left. Does not get either free throw to fall, but Kyle Laughlin, great job secure an offensive rebound off a missed free throw, missed assignment for South Royalton. Kyle's going to shoot 2, and West Rutland's going to drop everybody back. Maybe they called that a technical, not sure. Flagrant. West Rutland struggling to make this a 4-point lead. Bang, there it is. So apparently that was a flagrant. 2 shots and the ball. Minute 11 left and a 4-point lead for West Rutland. Bounce pass to Maxim. Maxim ball fake. Kicks it out to Chapman. Chapman to Dow. Dow bullet pass. 3 for Francis Grabowski. Rims out and South Royalton off to the races. Too easy. That cuts the lead to 2. Dow up past midcourt. Bounce pass. Chapman. Chapman right. Chapman finds Maxim. Maxim finds Francis Grabowski. Grabowski off the rim, no good. 43.3 left. West Rutland clinging to a 2-point lead. Preseason scrimmage here in Hinchy Gymnasium. Nice crossover drive. Too easy. Dow's on the run and wow. South Royalton hustled back and closed the door on that. He swings it to Chapman. Keaton right, Chapman. Up fake, finds Francis Grabowski. Grabowski finds a wide open Laughlin who gives up the pass to find a cutting Brian Maxim. Laughlin passes on the shot to give to Maxim for the closer shot. That is generous. And that extends the lead to 4 for West Rutland. And Brian Maxim is going to put up a floater that does not go, but West Rutland scraps back. Great quarter. 14-10. And they're discussing whether they want to play one more. I'm all in favor. We've got the gym all day. And it appears as though now the coaches just need to convince the officials and they agree. So we've got one more quarter of basketball coming, and we will check back after these instructions from the coaches to the players. So the 5th quarter almost underway. Jankowski inbounds to Bartlett. We've got 8 more minutes. Bartlett, top of the key, pointing out instructions. Hands off to Francis Grabowski. He's over to his brother Willie. Willie to the corner. Drake Jankowski thinks about it, then back to Willie Grabowski. High, top of the key. That ball to Francis. Francis to Bartlett. Bartlett sets but does not take the shot. Ball fake. Francis from deep but straight away. That ball rattles around but does not drop. Players go down hard in South Royalton up to the 3-point line. Surprised he didn't take that, but he hands off. Patient offense for South Royalton. West Rutland gets the stop, gets the ball. South Royalton sub checking in. So on the floor for West Rutland, we got Drake Jankowski into Jake Bartlett. We've got Willie and Francis Grabowski and Rue Forrest in the middle. Forrest was a difference maker. I believe it was the 2nd quarter, backing his man down repeatedly and going off the glass. Athletic job for Willie Grabowski to go up and get that. Sends up a jumper that looks good, but off the rim, no good. And South Royalton pulls the ball down, and they counter back to midcourt. Entry pass into the post. South Royalton player giving up quite a bit of size to Forrest there. Kick out, 3-point line, top of the key. Into the post. Nice cut, nice bounce pass. Great cut. Earns another trip to the free throw line. If this were the regular season and we were counting fouls, West Rutland would be in foul trouble for sure. Another free throw, good for South Royalton. We've got Drake Jankowski checking out. We've got Jordan Johnson checking in. Off the front of the rim, no good, and Rue Forrest, great box out, able to secure that rebound. He finds his point guard, Jake Bartlett. Bartlett, bullet pass from Willie Grabowski to Jordan Johnson. Now they swing back to Bartlett. Bartlett hands off to Francis Grabowski. Grabowski finds Johnson. Johnson finds Willie. Francis cutting through, nothing there. Oh, Willie thought about the cut. Did not hit the cutter there, and it's a turnover. We have South Royalton ball. They advance past midcourt, and it is 1-0 South Royalton with 5:36 left in what will be the final period here. South Royalton player not sure where it's coming down in relation to the sideline. Jake Bartlett extending the defense, almost gets a 5 count there. It's pretty physical under the boards right now, and South Royalton able to get a good look at the hoop and put it through. That gives them a 3-0 lead. Jake Bartlett, midcourt, hands off. Francis Grabowski. Grabowski finds Jordan Johnson. Willie Grabowski looking for a cutter, nothing there. Jordan Johnson thinks about the three, up fake, gets his man off his feet, and then hands over to Willie Grabowski, who goes far side to Jake Bartlett. Bartlett to Jordan Johnson. Johnson, skip pass. Francis Grabowski likes it. Off the front of the rim, no good, and look at the athletic hustle, Jordan Johnson. Slams into the wall trying to make the save and then calmly jogs back on defense. If you want 100% from a player, put Jordan Johnson in and see what happens. Elbow jumper wide open. No good. Rue Forrest, collision, reaching for that ball. I believe that call's going to be against Rue Forrest. South Royalton player went down hard, but picked himself back up and stays in. Willie Grabowski gets his hand on that inbound pass, gives up for his brother Francis. Francis behind the back, looking to go top of the key, and South Royalton anticipates that, picks it off. Drive, no left hand, has to go back to the right hand. Francis Grabowski pulls down the rebound, chins the ball, swings the elbows, and gets called. He'll come to the bench, and Jacob Dow will check in. Inbound pass, high out near midcourt. Jake Bartlett hounding his player. And that's a long jumper. Off the front of the rim, rattles around. I think that was Willie Grabowski coming down for it. Jacob Dow comes near side looking for Jake Bartlett, and great anticipation, South Royalton, to pick that pass off. Now it's a 2-on-1. Great give there to make an easy layup. We've got Willie Grabowski. Johnson, top of the key. Johnson comes near side to Dow. Dow's going to reset back to the top of the key. Hands off to Johnson. Johnson over to Bartlett. Bartlett hesitates, sneaks through the defense, gets a floater up off the glass, won't go, but Jordan Johnson's there for the rebound. Dow thinks about the drive, kicks out for a long three for Grabowski. Off the front of the rim, no good. Dow comes down with it, floater, no good. Excellent looks at the hoop for West Rutland, but no result, and it's 5-0 South Royalton with 3 minutes left, and we've got a timeout coming. And it is not a timeout, it's Donnie Dunches, the official, inviting subs to come on in. It's a preseason scrimmage, so get them in, get them out. Give them the minutes. South Royalton dribble drive. How long can a ball hang on the rim? That one drops through, and that extends the South Royalton lead. It is 7-0 with 2:52 left. And this is the tiebreaker. The teams have split the first 4 quarters evenly. They've alternated South Royalton, then West Rutland, then South Royalton, then West Rutland. And Willie Grabowski doing his part to try and catch this thing back up. It's 7-2. Thought that was a 3, but he must have been inside the 3-point line. And that is an errant pass off the end line. 2:28 left and a 5-point deficit for West Rutland. Dow to Bartlett to Dow. Dow walks it up and will run the offense. Johnson, skip pass to Bartlett. Bartlett back to Dow. Dow steps in. Johnson. That ball a little long and rebound South Royalton. Jordan Johnson extends the pressure. His player picks up the dribble, able to get it away, and now Johnson again continuing to hound his player, gets called for the reach. We're at 1:53 in what's a pretty low scoring period. It is 7-2. Roof Forest skies to contest that pass. South Royalton dribble drive into traffic. Bodies flying everywhere. Roof Forest ends up with it and then gets it poked away, but South Royalton called with the reach. And that is pure hustle for West Rutland. Bodies flying all over the floor. And they are rewarded with a possession. It's 1:44 left and they're facing a 5-point deficit. Dow walks it up and we'll see what we can do. Johnson, back to Dow. Dow, near side Bartlett. Bartlett steps in, sends a floater off the front of the rim, no good. South Royalton rebound. South Royalton deliberate. Far wing comes top of the key. Jankowski looking to check back in. We're at 1:18 left. And South Royalton in a position to grind some of this clock down. Foul on Roof Forest. Coach Schneider asking him to just go straight up on that. Willie Grabowski giving his former coach Dottie Dunches a high five on the way by the official there. And nice dribble drive. Hesitates and then gets the friendly roll off the rim. Jankowski to Dow, and it is now 7-point lead. Dow, midcourt. Dow looks for Johnson, and South Royalton there. South Royalton looking for the touchdown pass, and Jacob Dow with the interception. He gets pressured from behind and comes Bartlett. Bartlett cuts through, sends it up to the rim. Will not drop, so he'll shoot 2. 41.9 left. Off the back of the rim, no good. Jake Dow out, Keaton Wright Chapman in. And that ball rolls home. It's a 6-point lead with 41.9 left. And in this format where you can't foul and send the other team to the line, difficult to overcome a deficit. It is just a scrimmage, but it's always more fun to win than lose. And South Royalton's just going to weave across the top of the key either till they get a layup or the clock burns off, if I had to guess. And no let up in intensity on the defensive end for West Rutland. Johnson, high pressure, well past the 3-point line. Forces a pass to the 3, and that rolls around no good. And Drake Jankowski skies for that rebound, able to hook around and get a pass to Bartlett. So South Royalton has the last shot, and South Royalton wins that final period 9-3. Great effort for both teams. Very much looking forward to the regular season. Thanks to PEGTV for allowing me the opportunity to put these games on. Appreciate the use of equipment. I know folks who are out of town or can't make it to these games love either seeing them on TV or streaming them online. Folks out of town also appreciate it, and always exciting for a kid to see himself on TV. So thanks so much for the use of the equipment, and you'll see more West Rutland basketball as the season progresses.